Well, you could have known that an unplanned live broadcast is going to have glitches. Come on, get out. Hi, it's me, Dave LaMont. Time for a quick nooner because I do have to head out of town to go to Orlando for a couple of days. But I didn't plan on doing a show today, but just a couple of things have happened that I think it's worth mentioning. So I apologize for the lack of promotional awareness on my part. But I did want to talk, and I'm calling this funeral for a friend. And it's not who you think it is. It's not a thing about Charlie Watts or a thing about Norm Macdonald. It's the friend is Jai Alai. And if you've known by now, earlier this week it was announced that the Dania Beach Jai Alai, which used to be Dania Jai Alai when I worked there, is shutting down at the end of November. The last performance is November 27th, and it is to be no more. The owners of the building have decided that they're tired of losing money, that Jai Alai just isn't profitable. My dog is going to bark because I've only been home for about 2 minutes, and she hasn't been outside. And it's time to cut their losses and move on, even though they signed a collective bargaining agreement with the players that was going to last another couple of years. But it's apparently been decided that they're better off eating that deal, and I'm sure they put a lot of thought into it, eating that deal rather than going ahead and playing. So that's it. A part of my life has been or will be gone. Now, I'm not angry about this. I'm naturally disappointed, but I'm not naive. Jai Alai has been dying, unfortunately, since I was there, when the players went on strike and began to eat away at the public interest. And you've heard all the old stories before, so I'm not going to bore you with all the different reasons between lotteries and the fact that we're a four-sports major league town in addition to a major college town sometimes. All the other interests that are out there in the world. Jai Alai just does not have a place anymore at the table. Or if it does, it's not even at the kids' table. It's like eating on the toilet in the bathroom. I mean, that's crude, but that's what it feels like. When I was there in May for a month, and I had a blast announcing Jai Alai again for a month. But yeah, there might be 50, 100 people on a great night. And it's just a little landing strip of seats there now instead of a magnificent auditorium at Dania of 6,000 people. There's not going to be any more Miami Jai Alai. It's over. There's still a building up in West Palm Beach that's empty. It was on 45th Street. That was the home of Palm Beach Jai Alai. The sport is running out. I heard, I think it was Ari Adzer on Channel 4 do a report saying that Jai Alai is hanging by a thread. That might even be generous. Yes, Magic City still goes, but you've lost the big names. You've lost the frontons. All these old stadiums that you remember as a kid that you saw your favorite teams play on, they got torn down. There is no Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. There is no more Metropolitan Stadium in Minnesota where the Vikings played outdoors and they had that weird sideline that both teams on the same sideline. Now, they were replaced. Of course, the Colts ended up leaving town. But the point is, this isn't coming back. If it somehow comes back, I can't even imagine what form it would take that would attract enough interest to make it worthwhile for anybody. I'm not saying it'll never happen. Yeah, I guess I am saying it'll never happen. And the reason behind it, and I talked about this with you before, is that when the legislature brought sports gambling in, which is great. Now, I am 100% pro sports gambling. You know that already. So this is good. But with it, all of these places like Dania Jai Alai, and I still call it Dania Jai Alai, I apologize. Still have a license for 2 more years. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Once they realized they didn't have to keep Jai Alai on the books in order to get sports betting, they could decouple. Well, then we all knew that was it. And it was just a matter of when. And I thought, well, Dania will last a little bit longer, and they did a little bit. I was a little surprised. I thought they would probably kill it next year, but they've gone and killed it now. So this is my funeral for my friend, Dania Jai Alai. Where in the 80s, this was my life. From 1982, when I was fired at WNWS when I was 22 years old, about a month later, I found out Dania Jai Alai needed a new announcer. I got the job and held it there for 7 years as the chief announcer. And for a while, that was the only job I had. And then I started getting back into radio. But I can remember sleeping on the floor or on an air mattress when I was doing some radio and Jai Alai work. I can remember playing Jai Alai at 2 in the morning on the court when everybody was gone except 4 or 5 of us. We'd leave the lights on. We'd strap on our cestas and helmets and play for hours, getting home at 3 o'clock, exhausted but happy, because no sport has made me happier to play than highlight. I loved it. I blew off my 1977. I graduated high school in 77. My 10-year reunion didn't make it. It conflicted with my highlight date. I had a set Saturday summer game, and I never missed it. I mean, never missed it. And I said, oh, I can't go to that. I got to play highlight. That's how much I loved playing the sport. That's how much I cared about the sport then. It was my life. If I wasn't working Tuesday through Saturday, Wednesday matinee, once a month or so, I'd drive up to Palm Beach, usually with a buddy, and scream at the players. Monday nights, Miami highlight at night, because there was more highlight. I saw my friend Mark play up in Fort Pierce. I had, friends who played, guys I worked with who played. I made lifelong friendships at Dania Highlight, people that I respected worked there. Players that I loved worked there. Just a wild coincidence. I played golf about 2 weeks ago with the son of a former player, Assis III, whose uncle was the great Assis from Miami Highlight. It's always been a thread of my life, and now it's gone. It's gone because it wasn't sustainable. And like any other business in this country, because we're capitalists, and I'm all pro-capitalist and pro-cat, as you can see. Hi, Clyde. Come here. There you go. You want to sit here? Go ahead, sit there. I don't care. If you don't succeed, you're gone. Like restaurants that go out of business, other things that go out of business, that's what happened with Highline. They couldn't find a way to sustain it. They couldn't find a way to keep it popular. Miami, terrible neighborhood. Dania, I'm not sure why. Nice neighborhood, good building. Don't understand that. But the people who took it over killed it and brought it back, and now they're killing it again. Was it ever properly promoted? We could debate that forever. It doesn't matter anymore. My buddy Highlight is gone. Is going, gone. I'm going to watch it die. Maybe I'll probably do a little bit more announcing. I would maybe love to announce the last game there, but I don't want to crap on the people who are already there. Big Dave, my dear friend, and Patrick, who does a wonderful job. So that should be their right. They're the current announcers, not a guy from the past. But I can remember doing things like attendance contests. And I won't give you some of the nicknames we used, but we one year took attendance by looking in the crowd and seeing some of the same faces. And we picked like 10 people that we said were regulars, and we gave everybody a nickname. And we had a guy who we called IFG for, excuse me for this, incredibly fat guy, because he was a heavy guy. And he won. And I remember how excited we were. We were giddy. IFG won. Oh my God. Yeah, this is great. My friend Mark, who was running the scoreboard at the time, he was my cohort in all of this. We bought him a beer, sent it with a cocktail waitress with a note to the attendance champion, "This Bud's for you." And we watched. We had binoculars. We could see where he was sitting. And we watched as the waitress brought him the beer. And he looked at the note and he started smiling. He looks around like, where'd this come from? Like, who did this? I don't think he knew that it came from us. That's the kind of silliness that we did to keep going. Having players trying to break the unbreakable glass with the ball by throwing at us, playing with the players sometimes. Some guys were great about it. Other guys, they'd let you know. They let you know by throwing a ball hard at you and realizing that, well, you might catch it, but if you didn't, it was going to be painful as hell. And then you go, okay, they're getting serious out here. It's time to go. Going out socially. Playing golf with some of these guys. This was my life in my mid-20s. And it's gone. It's gone. Now, I'm certainly not the only one of you out there who have had not childhood, but maybe adulthood memories wiped out. The Orange Bowl Stadium is probably the ultimate South Florida memory wipeout that I can think of, because of what that stadium still means to a lot of people. And even though you put another stadium there, it isn't the same. And all those memories that are washed away from the perfect Dolphins season to the Hurricanes winning a championship and all the other events that went on there, concerts, fights, everything. I saw the Stones there. I saw Genesis there. Prince played there. Springsteen played there. I saw that show sitting in, I think, the next to last row, as far away from the stage that if I went back there, I think I could hear the last note of the last song. That's how far away I was. All of that's gone. The Sportatorium is gone. There's parts of South Florida that are historic that are gone, and Highlight will be one of them. What they're going to do with that part of the building, I have no idea. I assume they have plans. I assume they can expand the casino, and there's a lot of ways they could improve that casino. And even though I technically still work there, I have a few ideas. One, you need to get more upgraded slot machines. You could expand to include more video poker and many other things like that. Maybe they'll do sports betting. Maybe they won't. That's going to be interesting to see besides the folks at the Hard Rock who gets that. But I don't like it. But you wouldn't expect me to like it. I understand it, but I don't like it. It's hard when that gets ripped away from you, something like that. And this goes with the death of a Norm Macdonald, which we never saw coming because he kept everything private. You don't like these things. But look, I'm not losing sleep over this. Don't get too carried away. Hi, sweetie. Yeah, Dory's a good boy. Dory's a good kitty cat. But let me finish, okay? There you go. Good boy. But still, it stinks. I wish there was a way, because I got to tell you, when I was there in May, I saw some excellent highlight, and I learned a lot about the sport. I think of myself as an expert on the sport, and I saw some really good play there. And yet, it's gone. I also saw very few people there. And yes, people do watch on YouTube. They watch delayed and all this other stuff, and there are little gossip and blogger sites and all that, but it wasn't enough. It was never going to be enough. So to Dania Highlight, rest in peace. For all the great players that were there, all the memories I have there, which are extensive, from doing the scoreboard by hand. We had a guy named John Leffler whose job was it to literally run after every game up a little rampway and go in behind the scoreboard and pull the names out and put new ones in. I would do it with him sometimes. It was fun. And the hours being there and thinking, my God, is this ever going to end? Well, it is. Because there'd be some long nights there where you were tired. But it's ending. And yeah, I know there's little bits of it around, but I just don't pay attention. I'm not going to drive that far out of my way anymore to do that, because I have other things in my life, other people in my life. Back then, that was my life, and that's no joke. That's no joke. And, I'm single. That was it. For a while, I thought that was going to be it, that I was going to be 50 and still announcing highlight until I got back into the radio business and eventually into television. But you'll never hear me say a bad thing about it. And I'm sorry it's leaving. I enjoyed it. And for the people who work there, like Big Dave, like Benny Bueno, who put everything, his heart and soul into trying to save the sport, to the players, to those who work there now, and to those who had worked there, a salute. If I had a Cessna, which I have one in the garage. And not much more I can say to all of this. It's unfortunate. It's business, not personal. As they say in The Godfather, I understand it. But as I said, I don't like it. And I wish there was something else that could be done. But it's not happening. So my request for you is, if you're in South Florida, to go there at least one more time. They have very good players there, I promise. It's good action. It's great entertainment. May win a few bucks. And say goodbye. And I'll do that. Although I can't bet because I have a license. Isn't that crazy? I have a 3-year license that I had to get a license, to announce in May. And now I can't even walk in the casino. I cannot walk on the floors. Not that I don't want to, because that is the ultimate crap where you eat. But yeah, I can't gamble. Well, I suppose I could have somebody do it for me, but I mean, we never did that when I was working. Oh, never, not once. Not once, no. All right, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your football games. Hopefully your team wins, and I'll talk to you next week.